After say High Court estripe OSP ne prosecutorial power no abusua a ye ruling case against OSP no abusua enye eno nko a ensem bi esan so eboboba efa ho a aha gossip politics TV so unsubscribe ya subscribe na hit on the notification bell so be ya any update be drop no abusua won so wonsa ebetumi akabi Jeja Otna Eyesa case niso AG versus OSP Justice John Edu Nyante Ebusuya ono wasanso afine OSP 15,000 Ghana cedis Ebusuya eno ene ya project ede ato your screen no enchen ede amamno High Court declares all OSP prosecutions not authorized by Attorney General void, orders OSP to pay 15,000 Ghana cedi in cost. Abusuya, afie there is much interesting moment ahead. Fight between AG and OSP. Abusuya, yesho baby a ensem no ebekwa akudru na yasanso enya nentie se OSP eba be fight back against a High Court ruling. Abusuya, mun stay tuned. Mommy anko na yanko tie ensema ekoso High Court ne fine our fine OSP 15,000 Ghana cedis cost say say well losing case to Attorney General. Mommy anko na yanko tie ensema ekoso. Unsubscribe ya subscribe na hit on the notification bell so that any updates be able dropping also onsa ebetumi aka bedamase.
The court is awarding the cost of 15,000 Ghana cedis against the Office of the Special Prosecutor. So that is the breaking news here in relation to what is happening. What the court has said is that the OSP, all the cases that are being prosecuted by the OSP are void. AG is to take over all those prosecutions. Meanwhile, or to put it in the proper perspective, go to the Attorney General for prosecution powers or prosecutorial powers to be able to prosecute cases in court.
Very interesting. We know that this has generated a lot of conversation on mainstream and social media, but what happens to the case in the Supreme Court? Because there's already a case arguing the existence or the constitutionality of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. What happens to that?
So that is the controversy that it raises, that there's a matter before the Supreme Court. So why is the High Court taking a decision in this case? But what I can tell you is that the case in which the High Court is making a ruling on is distinct from what is before the Supreme Court. But once this has come up, it rather helps the conversation as to what exactly are the issues and what should be dealt with. Has the High Court assumed the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court or not? But what is clear, and what I am telling you, or we can report now, that Justice John Eugene Nyante has declared is that OG should take over all criminal prosecutions that the OSP has initiated in court, because it doesn't have the prosecutorial powers to do so. Before it could do so, it has to go to the Attorney General for such authorization, which in this case, it has not done.
Right, but Mutala, for purposes of clarity, right, a lot of questions that have been raised on our pages, for instance, where we posted this news, is the fact that the High Court is saying that the AG should take over all the cases that the OSP is currently prosecuting. Does that include, does it mean that the ones that we know is currently being prosecuted is void? What happens to the case? Explain that to us.
So what is interesting going forward is that those cases that even the OSP has secured conviction, there will be question marks raised about them as to how competent they were or they were based on that. But what is clear is that all the cases that are pending, all the cases that the OSP has filed, and this morning one of them came up that has to do with the former NPA boss, Mustafa Hamid and some others. The court is saying that the OSP has not filed, the cases that the OSP has filed without, the emphasis on without the permission of the Attorney General by way of prosecutorial authorization, all such cases are void. So all the cases that the OSP has initiated, they will take a look at each of them. Have you secured the authorization from the Attorney General? Yes, that is okay. But if no, then it means these are the cases that the OSP should take immediate effect, take over all of them.
Tell us about the 15,000 cedis that was slapped against the OSP.
So the court, after the ruling, makes the point that a cost be awarded, and the cost is normally awarded in matters, civil matters, where cases come before the court, and the court will say that you are taking the party to court, waste his time and all of that. At the end, you do not have any merit at all in the matter. And so once the applicant came to court and then he's advanced his cases and the argument, the OSP deems it fit that, look, the argument the court is minded to consider cost, to consider something of a compensation to the other party. And in this case,
Right. We'll try and raise our legal affairs correspondent, Mutala Inusa, again for him to conclude on the breaking news that indicates that the High Court in Accra has ordered the Office of the Attorney General to take over all criminal prosecutions in the various courts that are being handled by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. We told you that this conversation has generated a lot of conversation, but let's get some more clarity. Joining us via phone is the Executive Director of the Center for Democratic Development, Professor Kwesi Prempe. Many thanks for joining us. Prof, you have quickly reacted on social media on this breaking news. You're saying that the OSP should not appeal this or he should not resign. Tell us why you say so.
Well, first of all, I think one member of his staff, Sami Dako or so, has come to say that the story is false in reaction to the comment that I put on my Facebook wall. But that notwithstanding, I think, basically the comment I put there really expresses the kind of frustration that many of us feel. It's as if somehow, Mr. Kisia Adabing is being done some favor. I mean, since he started to do his work and take his statutory mandate seriously, all manner of obstruction have been placed in his way. And basically my comment is saying, look, you are basically serving the country. You are doing a job that was given to you. It's a thankless job. Many people would not like this kind of job. You had a thriving, private practice before that. If people don't want you to fight corruption, basically just let it be. At some point, you just, can fight but so much. So basically, just go to work, draw your pay. That's what many, many public servants do in Ghana. They pretend to work in our national interest. They don't. And basically, that's what they want you to do. Just indulge them. It's set out of frustration. But basically, I think at some point, we have to get to say some of these things very bluntly, because this is just too annoying. Frankly, too annoying. It may well not be true, but whether it is true or not, I think that we have put Mr. Kisia Jabeng through enough already, simply because we decided to create an office and appoint him to run it. It's not as if he was, scavenging for some opportunity like this. He was sitting somewhere peacefully, doing his work and earning a living. And we say, come and help us fight corruption. And he says, okay, let's see if you take it seriously. And he takes his job seriously and begins to do it. And then from all kinds of corners. Today is this, tomorrow is that. What's the problem with this country? Do we want it fixed or do we not?
But
I don't get it. Do we want it fixed or do we not? So basically that is the frustration I'm expressing in that comment. Just, don't resign. Absolutely, he shouldn't. He shouldn't resign. He shouldn't appeal even. He should just go to work. Just get up in the morning, drive rush hour like everybody else does, pretend to go to work, sit there, draw his salary, spend this institutional budget and, do procurement, whatever, what everybody does in public office in this place.
Right, Prof.
And let's see how the country runs.
Does this mean that as a country we're only pretending to fight corruption? But
is that not obvious to you? Is that not obvious to you? I mean, the peers, our peers in Africa, even in Africa, I'm not talking any other place. You read story upon story, struggling democracies, fragile democracies, some wicked hours, doing better, dealing with some of these things. And you can't get income, you can't get, accountability when it's your term in office. You can't get it after your term in office. What exactly are we looking for? What do we want? Why are we throwing money after all these institutions, creating new offices when we know we don't want to fight this thing? We just maintain new office. This one comes, this one office, OSP, value for office, this. We should stop all this pretense. And it's basically at some point, it's insulting our intelligence. And the fact that people are in politics doesn't mean they are smarter than any one of us. We see through all this nonsense.
We know that
they should just stop it.
Right. We know that the Office of the Attorney General is arguing that based on the Constitution or Article 88, only his office is allowed to initiate prosecutions, for instance. What is your take on that, especially on the back of the High Court, right?
Look, I mean, I don't know. Again, I don't know if the High Court is correct or not. Fine, they can go and litigate it in the Supreme Court. They can argue ad infinitum. They can do whatever they want, right? If the office belongs to you and the power belongs to you and you don't want a person, I mean, after all, this person is not basically doing something, against the public interest. If you don't want him to do a particular prosecution, let us say that the OSP is doing a particular prosecution and you oppose that, and tell the OSP, that I don't want you to do this particular prosecution. I will do it myself, or my DPP will do it. That is how you exercise your power if you want to exercise it in a particular case. But say that you want to abolish the whole office and take on the job. Is the AG able to prosecute all the cases that they have on their desk? Is that a problem? I don't get it. What is the problem? That you want your power back because the one who is doing this under the OSP Act is acting improperly, or that it belongs to me according to the Constitution.
Right.
Whether or not they are doing a good job, or they are helping me, or they are lifting some weight off my back, that is not an issue.
Right.
So if there are particular prosecutions that you think in the higher public interest, according to your logic as AG, you think that they are not, exercising the right judgment, yes, exercise, basically show your constitutional power and call them and say, look, can you account to me for how you're doing this particular one? I don't like it this way. Right. But this is just an adjunct to your office, is to assist you to do your work. And so I don't get all this legalism and legal wrangling around this unconstitutional.
Right. Speaking of legal wranglings, Prof, for purposes of education, does the OSP Act require that the Office of the Special Prosecutor seek for permission from the Attorney General's office before initiating prosecutions?
I don't know that there is such a requirement for each particular case, that it should be done on a case-by-case basis. But what I'm saying is that if the Attorney General, if the Office of the Attorney General insists that it has the power, right, exclusively, then I think that the onus is on them if the OSP is acting in any particular case that they consider improper, to intervene and say, and call them to order and say, look, come to me and account for how you're exercising this power, which power is derivative of mine, right? The OSP itself can keep going as long as they think they are within their remit. But if you think that in any particular case they are not doing a good job, or they are not doing the job rightly, then you should call them. But otherwise, if this is just an adjunct to your office and they are doing the work, and it doesn't offend you, and it's not improper, point. I don't get. I mean, it's like, what really is the fight here about? That it's interfering with your work. It's not making you fight corruption well. It's making you fight corruption. What is the argument here? What is the public interest argument? That's what I'm looking to see, and I can't find one.
Prof, finally, I know you've been on for a while, but finally, this ruling came from the High Court. Does the judge...
Is it confirmed, though? I mean, have you confirmed it?
Is our legal affairs correspondent is very credible, and so if he's reporting that, we're right. And so I want to ask that this ruling is coming from the High Court in Accra. Does the judge have such powers?
Why not? I mean, I don't know on what basis the order was issued, but they say that the judges here, the law is in their bosom or whatever. So I presume so. I cannot pretend to know, but the basis upon which the ruling was made, or whether or not the defendant raised an issue, if the defendant in the case, the accused person in a particular case raised an issue, and the matter is the Supreme Court, I would expect that the court just maybe hold it and say, well, let's wait for some from the Supreme Court because the matter is pending anyway as to its constitutionality. But so it's a bit incongruous. I'm not sure exactly why this ruling, in light of the fact that it's already a pending suit that goes to the heart of the same issue, right? But I cannot pretend to know the basis upon which the judge made that ruling, if it is true. But my advice would to Mr. Kisijani and Ajami states, just chill, really. I mean, just chill.
Essentially,
it's not like fighting corruption is some smart crusade of just chill.
Right. Essentially, if he takes your advice, meaning the taxpayers' money goes to waste.
It's going to waste already. How much do you think corruption costs us?
Right.
I mean,
Anyway,
and so if somebody is helping to fight it and you don't want it fought, then what's the point?
Prof, I'm
Our
so
taxpayers'
grateful.
money is going to waste already.
Prof, I'm so grateful that you could speak to us here on Newsroom. That was the Executive Director of the Center for Democratic Development, Professor Kwesi Prempe. Like I said earlier, this has definitely generated a lot of conversation on social media as well. And so let's bring you those thoughts and comments. Nana Akwa joins us with those. Nanama, what are people saying?
Thank you, Nadima. Well, we'll start here with Vincent. Iwa, the change we really voted for, Abba and Papa Abba. This movie will be an interesting one to watch. And Antelope says that trusts a lion to be its savior is a full stop. He says he rests his case. We also have Suleimana. There's fire on the mountain. He's advising that we run. Addo, our legal system has been set back 2,000 years. Mr. OSP, you have met Pontius Pilate in court today. We also have, so here, Prince says that Article 88 is clear and then gives some information there. Emmanuel asks who watches The Watchman. We also have Absalom Adams. That's the common sense approach to rebranding. Now the Attorney General has all the powers conferred to him per the Constitution. We have Justice. Do high courts have jurisdiction over constitutional matters, he's asking. Benedict AD, the end of the road for the OSP. I'm wondering if this is a question or a statement. Dennis in Cancer, the hunter has been hunted. The oppressor has been oppressed. And Kwanoma being catapulted onto the ground. We also have Akwesi. So OSP was not having prosecutorial powers and he was prosecuting. I know they would stop the OSP because he started chasing the corrupt officials in this NDC government. Dominic says those who fight corruption are being fought fiercely. At this point, we feel hopeless. We have Nana Monday, elimination by rough tactics triggered. Dowd, good. Now the Trojan horse has been removed. We have Emmanuel. NDC has overtaken the political corruption case. Noli Prosequi is the next. We also have Gideon Dagadu. Mr. AG, the OSP's office is never a hindrance to your work as the Chief State Prosecutor. Leave that office alone and focus on what is necessary. Go after the people who have looted the state. He's advising the AG there. Salifu Abdul Rahman, AG is handling a big load for him, and cases OSP is also handling or holding is a big load for him as well. So how can really only the AG handle these cases? Seems like, he says, the end of oral. We have Humphrey, great, OSP is fooling Ghanaians too much. Wahab, the end of a political hypocrite. Then we have David, like seriously? Joseph says this is just the beginning. We also have Kwame, we watch, we don't judge. Then we also have here Esikado, God is not asleep. Then our last comment here is Chairman Opambo, it is finished, Ayeka. Well, this is going to be a very interesting game that will play out. My name is Nanama.
Okay, abusia we ne ensema ekoso ewo political highway so OSP sisi ade eja egunichi mas oba be 15,000 Ghana cedis na ode akwakutua eye ne fine na ye de afine ode sisi ade ye beti lawyer Martin Pegbu nka ewo sa ensem ya ekokoso lawyer Martin Pegbu ono de oni OSP de omo anyway inshia ye bedamase someje pene kokoti za ensem we ede emai bedamase.